Kia ora tātou, welcome back to the Wargaming Den. Just a little video for you today. Yesterday I was experimenting with making some bunkers for games in the Far East. So hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. Okay, just finished off some more terrain yesterday. I made 4 little bunkers for the Japanese, a couple more clumps of jungle terrain, and I picked up some cheap palm trees when I was in Dunedin last and just gave them a bit of a spray paint to dull down the brightness a bit, and based up they actually turned out quite good. I've ordered a lot more and intend to use them for my jungle Far East terrain. Let's have a quick look at how I made the Japanese bunkers. So I actually got the idea from the terrain tutor. He's got a really good video on making bunkers and I just copied his method really. I used some kebab skewers just to make the base of the bunker. So here you can see this one's nearly completed. It's got a roof as well as a floor. These ones have just got the floor, and then I've just put some cross beams across, and then I put the roof over, and that's basically the outline of the bunker right there. So once I had the bunker itself had the glue had dried on that, just use PVA, just use some bits of foam core to build up the little hillock around the bunker, just so it's easier when I use a filler or a plaster mix. You don't need so much. So yeah, so that was just chopping some pieces up, getting it ready for the next stage. I usually use perma filler these days, but I'd run out and I had some plaster lying around, so I just used plaster to cover over the hillocks, and while the plaster was still was still wet, I covered it in a mixture of sand from the local beach just to give it a bit more texture. And a couple more steps down the track really. Once that had dried, I just sealed it with PVA, which I tend to do to try and stop chipping, and then painted it with a dark brown followed by a light brown, then some static grass. After that added some woodland scenic clump foliage, and then the trees came from just bits of aquarium stuff I bought about 10 years ago. The key I've found with the aquarium stuff is though, it tends to be quite bright and plasticky looking, so before I use it I tend to just give it a really light spray paint with a light brown. In some areas here it's a bit too heavy, but it just dulls down the brightness and looks a wee bit dead at the ends and stuff, and looks, as far as I'm concerned, a lot more natural. So this is what the finished bunkers look like. I'm going to use them as machine gun positions for Wargaming, and they turned out pretty good. And just a quick little video. So very happy with the way they've turned out. Look very suitable for games in Burma, etc., and pretty easy to do. And as I said before, I also picked up some cheap plastic palm trees that look pretty hideous till I got them based up, and I've done previously, just a light spray paint of a light brownish color just dulls them down. Very happy with how those have turned out. Here's the bunkers at the front, and then these aquarium plants that I got a decade ago, and they're really cool. I like these ones. They've got ferns at the front, and then they've got some palm trees, and I'll add other trees and stuff just to finish them off. They're actually rectangular in shape, but once they've been based up and blended in with a bit of static grass and some clump foliage and stuff, they no longer look rectangular. The eye just kind of changes the whole appearance of them. So yeah, really happy with how those turn out, and I use those as scatter terrain for my jungle bases. Very happy with that technique. And really happy with the way that the machine gun bunkers have turned out. They look nicely hidden, as the Japanese tended to do. Now, the British came up with some really clever tactics to deal with bunkers in Burma. What they do is they drive a Lee tank up reasonably close and start firing HE at the openings, trying to suppress the crew. While they're doing that, the infantry would approach, and then the last few shots, the tank crews would fire AP shells at the bunker, which would continue to keep the heads down of the crew. They would think of the bunker. They would think that the bunker's still taking fire from high explosive shells, but actually, what that meant is actually that the shells would, as long as infantry stayed out of the direct line of the tank, they would be avoiding the shell fire. So by the time the Japanese realised that the British and Indian troops had closed with the bunker and were close enough to assault it without taking casualties and stuff. So it was a really good technique to deal with bunkers. And once they started perfecting techniques like that, they had a lot of success, and as they were driving the Japanese back out of Burma. Anyway, just a random aside. So there we have it, my little experiment at making bunkers for my games in the Far East. Very happy with the way they've turned out, and might make some more in future, but 4's probably enough for the meantime anyway. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching. Hit a like or subscribe if you wish, but until next time, ka kite anō. Take care. See you next time, everybody.